Hey folks, what's up? This is Adam here, I Can't See the Guy. Before I get on with this review, I just want to say I've got a cold. So if my voice sounds funny or I'm wiping my nose, that's the reason why. There's something going around in this Christmas season. Don't know what the hell it is, but everyone's coming down with a cold and I'm one of them. Now, I made a video on my YouTube channel stating that since it's Christmas season, I'll be willing to do requests, of movie reviews. They don't have to be about Christmas movies. They can be any movie you like. It's a small way of giving thanks for all the support over the years, and people being very patient, and people who are subscribed to my channel give me a lot of support. The least I can do is do video requests as and when I can. I've done a few reviews already based on different movies. And please be patient. And if your request does not get answered, then please don't take it personal, because, only a few people are going to have a turn, and it's only right if you're patient and you get your turn answered. And some people will, some people won't, but please don't take it personal, if your request does not get answered. That's something I wanted to get off my chest first. But anyway, today's movie review is the Disney film Fox and the Hound, which came out in the year of 1981. A friend of mine requested this on YouTube. It says, please do a review on Fox and the Hound, which came in the year 1981, the Disney film. Now, Fox and the Hound is a film that I saw years ago, but I couldn't remember what happened. And I remember seeing parts of this movie in primary school, because it was a rainy day. And what we did on rainy days when we weren't allowed to play outside, because in the playground, we'd watch a video instead, and one pupil brought in Fox and the Hound, and I remember parts of it then, but again didn't see it all the way through. And just moments ago I had the perfect opportunity to watch it all the way through with no interruptions, and I really enjoyed the film. Okay, now I believe this Disney film can relate to a lot of people, because it's a strong Disney film giving out a message about friendship, about how much you should treasure friendship no matter who you are and how old you are. Because, cut a long story short, it's about a fox called Todd, and it's about a little hound dog called Copper, when they're babies, and they become friends. But as the years go by, Copper is now he's being trained to be turned into a hunting dog, and he's going to be hunting all kinds of animals, including foxes like Todd. And he realises that he can't be his friend anymore because of what he's become. Now, I can relate to this movie because when I was a child, I had a childhood friend, and it reminded me a lot of Todd and Copper. Me and this other friend that we have. And when we got older in age, he didn't want anything to do with me. You know what I mean? We started off being close friends, like brothers, growing up together, going through all sorts of shit together. We thought we were going to be friends for life, but for some reason he turned his back on me. You know what I mean? So you can understand how Todd feels, when Copper doesn't want to be his friend anymore. You feel for the character. You understand the character. You know what they're feeling. You know what they're going through. Because the film opens up with Todd being a baby and just being carried by his mother, and she ends up getting shot dead off screen. Kind of what happened in Bambi. And then there's this female owl who is befriended with these two other birds, and they lure Todd into this old lady who was like a female farmer. And she's very kind-hearted. She's a very busy, hard-working lady, but she takes Todd in, gives him the name Todd, and she's raising it like as if it's a puppy of her own. Living nearby, there's this hunter, this farmer, who's got a hound dog, an old hound dog, and of course the puppy bulldog Copper, who he's hoping one day will turn into a good hunting dog just like his father. You know. And of course when Todd and Copper cross paths with each other, they become instant friends. You know, and they keep their friendship a secret because Copper doesn't want his father or the farmer to know that he's befriended a fox, because the fox would end up getting killed, basically. It's very touching that a fox and a hound can be friends. I mean, they become instant friends, instant best friends. I mean, one thing I always want to point out is that the voice of the hound Copper was voiced by Corey Feldman, and I didn't realise that until after the film. I was like, oh, that voice sounds really familiar. And then when I looked it up, Corey Feldman does the voice of Copper, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. You know, considering he was in the Goonies, which I really enjoy. You know, Corey Feldman. He was also in Friday the 13th, which I also enjoy. I'm not too much of a big fan of Corey Feldman now he's an adult. I enjoy more of his work when he was like a child actor. You know, so it was nice to see Corey Feldman, you know, do work like this in Fox and the Hound. Because I've said this from time and time again about Disney films. You're never too old to enjoy Disney. You know, it's part of everybody's life. And it's a big part of everyone's childhood. Families travel all over the world to go to Disneyland Paris and Disney World in America just to be part of the Disney magic. And one thing I like about these Disney movies is that they tell good stories. The songs are memorable. The characters are beloved. And Fox and the Hound did just that. You know what I mean? I mean, like I said, I just got done watching it moments ago. It was a sweet film. Beloved characters, and the story is just very straightforward, you know, about Fox and the Hound being the best of friends, but as they're getting older, Copper the dog is realising that he's turning into a hunting dog now, and he wants Todd to leave him alone, end his friendship, because he wants him to be safe. He doesn't want to turn him into a hunting victim. One night, one thing leads to another. Things go too far. His father ends up going onto a railway track where he ends up having an accident. This is where Copper becomes like really aggravated and angry at Todd, saying he's going to get his own back on him. And there's a few back and forth fight scenes of threats and things like that of these two once good friends falling out. The ending, they did a good job of the ending, you know, where they encountered that bear, you know, and the farmer, and Todd rescues the farmer, and he rescues, you know, Copper in the process. You know, the good little ending scene with the bear, you know, this fierce bear that's attacking the farmer and the hunter, as I like to call him. I'd have to say the characters are very beloved, especially the old lady in this. Because I had to laugh at the scene, you know, in the car chase scene, you know, where she uses the shotgun and she shoots his car. Like saying this woman's taking no shit from people, you know. Despite her being kind-hearted and taking Todd in and all that kind of business, she doesn't take shit from nobody because she uses the shotgun to blow up the radiator on his car. She says, look what she did to my radiator. So, I like that scene. She does the right thing with Todd, you know, because she realises as Todd's getting older, she realises that he's not a dog, he's a wild animal and he belongs in the wild. So there's a sad scene, you know, where she takes him out into the woods and lets him go free. Todd's just sitting there wondering, you know, what she's doing because she's leaving him behind. She's heartbroken that she's got to leave him behind, but at the same time she knows she's doing the right thing because he's a wild animal and he belongs in the wild. Did I have any complaints about this movie? I'd have to say the songs from the female owl weren't as memorable as some other Disney songs. I mean, there's loads of great Disney songs coming from loads of Disney films that we all remember, like Under the Sea from The Little Mermaid, I Can't Wait to Be King from The Lion King. You know, the songs in this movie, although they were good, they weren't terrible songs, but they're not songs that you'd remember like you did with some of those other Disney songs. So that's the only like pinch of salt problem I had a problem with it, and that was the songs. Because I mean, some would generally argue that The Fox and the Hound did not need any songs. You know, they didn't need any songs. But in my opinion, you need a good one or two songs in a few Disney films to make it really peachy, really mood uplifting. Whether it's a sad sequence or a happy sequence. And the female owl just does that. I mean, we get one thing that leads to another, you know, with the other two characters. The two birds are having problems with that caterpillar. You know, that's thrown into the equation. So it's not always focusing on the fox and the hound. There's like other characters that get a lot of bit of screen time and purposes. You know, so... But generally, he gave out a good heartwarming message because he was given a happy ending where everyone gets along, everyone's friends again, including the farmer and the old lady, because she's bandaging his foot, and after we got caught in the trap and all those other things, and the fox and the hound become best of friends once again, and I was given a happy ending. I really wished that could have been the ending of my childhood friend growing up, because I grew up with a friend who reminded me a lot of Copper, you know. But he turned his back on me, and that's a story for a different day. But the bottom line is the film gives out a good message about friendship, and that's what I like about those old Disney movies which came out in the year of 1981, 1982, 84, and they were very dark Disney films, but at the same time they sent out good messages and they gave them good endings. So kudos to Fox and the Hound. It does just that. And I'm really glad that the person who sent this request in told me to watch it and do a review on it. Because like I say, I remember watching it back in the day. I couldn't remember it. And then I remember watching it for the second time, but I only seen parts of it at school. You know. I even remember a few people tearing up over it. So it does give you a bit of a tear. You know, to know that the friendship of these two beloved characters are breaking up. You know, as the hound's getting older, getting ready to hunt. While Fox is becoming like more of like a prey victim, you know. It was a good story told, very simple concept, but it worked, and it really worked for a Disney film as well. Like I said, the only bits of bad, you know, it's just like the songs from the female owl, you know, not terrible, nice songs, but they weren't memorable songs, if you get what I mean, compared to all the other Disney films that there are out there. That's the only thing I've got to say about it. But like I say, all the characters were beloved, great story, and I'm really glad that I had the opportunity to re-sit through this movie and watch it all again, all the way through, because I never get tired of watching a Disney film from the 80s era. You know, they were dark, you know, they had good stories to them. I'm not a big fan of Disney in today's day and age. So I really do hope no one sends me a request to like review a modern day Disney film or a live action Disney film, because I'm not a big fan of those. Yeah, but Fox and the Hound, I enjoyed it. You know, thanks for sending it in. And like I said, I like it up there with The Little Mermaid. I like it up there with The Lion King, The 101 Dalmatians. You know, it does remind you of those other films, of those strong telling story films, especially when they talk about friendship, you know, and bonding, you know what I mean. It was really nicely done. I mean, most of the sequences in this movie as well took place in the woods and all that, and I can relate to that as well, because when I was a kid I used to live right by some woods, and I was used to seeing dogs, I was used to seeing foxes, I was used to seeing deer, wild animals, so all of that meant a lot to me also, because it just reminded me so much of my childhood. You know, so it was really nice to see a movie, you know, that had all that calibre, you know. So thanks for sending that in. That's my movie review for Fox and the Hound, everybody. I do highly recommend it for all members of the family, the old generation and the young generation also. Do I rank it as one of the best Disney films I've ever seen? No. But it's definitely on the level where I would watch it again for pleasurable reasons. That's all I'd say about it, you know. No major complaints about Fox and the Hound compared to some of the other Disney films I've seen. But definitely a must watch. And definitely a must see, and I highly recommend it for all members of the family. Thanks for watching this, everyone. Have a Merry Christmas, and I hope you enjoyed this review. Please leave a comment. Peace out.